Hello, welcome back to Armchair Armory, and it's finished at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham Hotspurs 0, Arsenal 2. Fantastic performance from start to finish. I think this is the most dominant I've ever seen Arsenal play in a North London derby. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting that. I thought from previous... Because remember, this is the first time that we've won a North London derby in about 9 years. I think 2014 was the last time we won there, or North London derby at Tottenham is probably the last. That was the last time we won there. So the record was against us, and I know in the last few years, like the last 2 or 3 years, it's been pretty much dominant on the Spurs side. So I went into this game very, very skeptical, thinking that this would be the game where we may bottle it. And safe to say we didn't. We were absolutely dominant, particularly in the first half. That first 45 minutes, we were flawless. Nothing went wrong. Spurs looked like a League Two team. They looked like a team from the Conference National Division. They just didn't look good. Second half, they were better. But I think we did just about enough defensively to keep them out. Like, all of their big players, apart from maybe Kulusevski, looked almost half-assed to some extent. Kane was quiet, Son was quiet. Like, it was quite, in a way, it was quite eerie to see Spurs perform like that. So really pleased with that. We are now 8 points clear at the top of the. I can't believe I'm saying that. 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League. If you'd had said that to me at the start of the season, I would have bitten your hand off, because it's unbelievable what we're achieving this season. It's something I never thought I'd see for a very, very long time. I actually thought it would be after Arteta that we would see this, or that we could potentially see this. But there is part of me that is starting to think, can we actually do this? I still think that there's a long way to go, and I still think that there's a possibility that we could start slipping off slightly. We've got a really big challenge ahead against Manchester United at the Emirates next Sunday. I suppose the advantage is for us is that they play on Wednesday against Crystal Palace. So the advantage is that we'll have a bit more time to prepare, I guess. But at this moment in time, and Paul Merson just said it on Sky Sports right now, that United and Arsenal are currently the informed team at this moment in time, or the informed teams at this moment in time in the Premier League. So it's going to be a very, very, very interesting game. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it decides it, but it means that if United beat us, they go with it, and also beat Palace midweek, they go within three points behind us, depending on other results. And then if we win, depending on other results, we could potentially be 11 points clear by next Sunday, by about 6:30 next Sunday. We could potentially be 11 points clear of Manchester City. So there is there is something crazy happening right now, and I can't quite believe it in a way. I thought those days were gone of us challenging for titles, or not gone, but on hiatus. But still, I'm not going to sit here and go off the handle and say that we're going to win the league, because there's still a long way to go. We've played 19 games. I think the Man United game is the 20th game for us. We still have a game in hand to play. I think it's 2 games in hand we have to play against City, which is coming up in February, and then Everton at home. So it's way too early to start saying that we're definitely gonna win the league or something like that. It's very, very early to be saying things like that. So to talk about the game, so the 2 goals we got were quite one was very fortunate, and the other one was a brilliant masterclass, brilliant shot from Martin Odegaard. The first goal was an own goal from Hugo Lloris, where Saka went to cross the ball at Lloris's near post, and Lloris fumbled it, basically came off him and went in. And one of the key things I felt from this game is that we needed to start early and impose ourselves on them straight away, because they're not full of confidence at the moment. They have their form up till now has been quite mixed, and as I said in the preview, Conte has been doing his kind of mopey thing of complaining about the fact that Spurs don't have enough firepower and all this kind of stuff. So they're on the rocks as it is. I would have liked to see more goals, because I think we could have, in the first half, it could have been 4-0 by half time. And yes, as I said at the beginning, they came out in the second half and they were really, really piling the pressure on us. At least for the first 15-20 minutes of that second half, we were on the cosh. But I felt like it just goes to show how well we've improved defensively and off the ball as well. Gabriel and Saliba were fantastic. Zinchenko was great. Ben White is like the unsung hero of that defence, because I feel as if people forget about him. And then Aaron Ramsdale, Gary Neville gave him player of the match for this game. I would actually probably argue that you could probably put Thomas Partey in there as well as man of the match for this game. But Aaron Ramsdale was good. Aaron Ramsdale played like it was a derby game, basically. Pulled off some really good saves in that, particularly in that second half, to deny Spurs getting back into the game. And yeah, it sets up next week really, really well. Manchester United at home. Again, our record against them at the Emirates in the past couple of years hasn't been too bad. It's kind of been similar to Spurs in a sense that they would beat us at Old Trafford, and then we would beat them at the Emirates, or we would come away with a more positive result. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Rashford's in the form of his life at the moment. They've got Casemiro, who is going to be a lot more difficult to break through than Sarr and Højbjerg that Spurs had today. So yeah, it's going to be a completely different game. I wouldn't go as far as to say, because Paul Merson was calling it a decider, but I don't think it is a decider. I think it's a chance for those that are saying that Arsenal aren't title contenders, also those that are saying that Man United aren't title contenders, to be silenced a bit more for both of those teams. So it's kind of more a bragging rights situation rather than an actual title decider, because I still think at some point Man City will kick on, and they're the kings at winning loads of games in a row, so we'll have to see. But yeah, very, very pleased. And as always, it's always good to beat Spurs, especially at their ground, which I don't see happen often, so that's even better. But yeah, it's another statement made. I suppose the last thing to say is that obviously there's been the huge news that Chelsea have hijacked the deal that Arsenal had in place for Mykhailo Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk. I see there was a lot of people that were melting down on social media. I don't think there's any need for a meltdown. I'm not saying that we can take the same risk that we did last season and not bring anyone in. But at the same time, I'm not going to pay. I wouldn't pay. If I was the owner of a football club or a sporting director, I wouldn't pay £95 million or £100 million or whatever it is that Chelsea paid for a player that looks good but not quite the finished article. That's still a young player. He's still only 22. So, I can understand the frustration, because it happens a lot to Arsenal. Arsenal come in with their valuation, and the club that they're dealing with doesn't want to go with that valuation, and then we end up with another club coming in and overpaying the odds. The same thing happened with Dusan Vlahovic in the summer. No, was that last summer or last January? I can't remember. Anyway, so it happened with Dusan Vlahovic. It happened with Lisandro Martinez in the summer. So this is just another one of those situations, which I can understand is frustrating. But there are probably we hope there are other targets in mind for Arsenal if they want to bring somebody in. My main concern is more about the centre of midfield than a winger, to be honest, because I feel even though, he's kind of been up and down, Fabio Vieira is there if Saka or Martinelli, because I think he can play across the front. So if Saka or Martinelli get injured, I think Vieira is there. I'm just more concerned if we lose Xhaka or Partey, it means that it will be Lokonga and Elneny. And Elneny's okay on his day, but Lokonga's not quite there yet, and that's where I'm worried. So I'm more concerned about bringing in a central midfielder, which, to be honest, I don't think we're going to do. It doesn't feel like we're going to do that. So, yeah, at the end of the day, Chelsea are welcome to him. It would be annoying if he starts doing really, really well. It starts basically bringing Chelsea out of the hole that they're in at the moment. But we'll have to wait and see. The funny thing is that I saw his Chelsea's social media post when he was being unveiled and all that kind of stuff, and he looked like he wasn't really very happy to be there. So who knows? Because throughout this entire process, he's been saying that he wants to come to Arsenal. So it's kind of weird that all of a sudden now he's signed the contract and gone to Chelsea. But money talks at the end of the day. I can imagine that it's probably got something to do with the amount of money that he was being offered by Chelsea that Arsenal wouldn't match, or succeed or whatever, or do more than, offer more than. So yeah, it's a shame, because he looked, from what I'd seen of little bits and pieces, he looked like a good player. I think he would have been good cover for Martinelli, because the only kind of natural left winger we have is Martinelli. So it would have been nice to have someone as backup, or someone to rotate with Martinelli. But you win some, you lose some. The only time I'll really be annoyed is if we don't bring anybody in, because like I said in the preview for this game, the difference between Spurs getting top four and not getting top four last season was the fact they brought in Kulusevski and Bentancur. And I think if we are serious about trying to go for the league, I think we need to bring in a couple of players as backup in case we lose a Partey or a Xhaka or a Martinelli or a Saka. Because I'm also hearing as well that Gabriel Jesus might be out for longer than they think, which is a shame. So I would say we'd probably need someone to be backup to Nketiah as well. And I've been saying it for a few weeks now. So so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. You as I say, you win some, you lose some. It's annoying, but we just have to move on. Just enjoy the fact that we battered Spurs today. So yeah, that's the positive. There's still 2 weeks left of January, so there's still time to get somebody in if we're going to. Right, I'm going to leave it there. This is probably the longest reaction I've done so far. I'm going to leave it there. I will be back again with Stefan, actually, to preview the Man United game. It'll probably be towards the end of the week that will come out. So yeah, North London is red. Take care and stay safe.